Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let us continue with Surah An-Nisaa bihawlillahi wa quwwatih. Ayah number 114. قال الله تعالى: لا خير في كثير من نجواهم إلا من أمر بصدقة أو معروف أو إصلاح بين الناس ومن يفعل ذلك ابتغاء مرضات الله فسوف نؤتيه أجرا عظيما. He says there is no khair, no goodness in their najwa, which means a secret counsel or a secret talk. So in much of these secret talks there is no goodness, because normally evil is done and planned in secrecy, except those types of secret talks in which good things are planned, where he says, except for the one who orders sadaqah, that is giving charity, which is when you give wealth to someone who is needy, seeking the reward of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Or ma'roof. Ma'roof is anything which is good. That includes sadaqah, of course. So you're planning something which is good. Or islah bayn al-nas. Islah meaning reconciliation between people. So two factions are at war, and you plan how to reconcile between them and bring about peace. And he says, whoever does all of this, ibtigha meaning seeking, the mardatillah, mardat from rida meaning pleasure, pleasure of Allah, then we will give him a great reward. Because even a kafir could do this, or a non-believer in Allah could do all of this, but he's not doing it seeking the pleasure of Allah. So he will not be rewarded in the akhirah, but we can be rewarded in this world for all good which he did. So reflecting on this ayah, we may pick up that many secret talks or secret counsels do not have any goodness in them, in that they do not benefit the doers in the hereafter, and their secret counsels only serve to misguide them further or to distract them from the purpose of life, which is the worship of Allah Jalla wa Ala. There is no goodness in these types of secret talks and counsels. Secret talks and counsels are only ever good when they endeavor to achieve something that pleases Allah Jalla wa Ala, such as sadaqah and other righteous matters, like rectification between people. It could be two groups or two parties. It can also be two individuals as well, such as a husband and wife. We learn the virtue of sadaqah and ma'roof, which is general, all types of goodness. We also learn the virtue of seeking reconciliation between people. In fact, we have a specific and authentic hadith in this regard. The Prophet ﷺ said, أَلَا أُخْبِرُكُمْ بِأَفْضَلَ مِنْ دَرَجَةِ الصِّيَامِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَالصَّدَقَةِ. Should I not inform you of that which is better than the level of fasting and salah and charity? They said, yes, O Messenger of Allah. And the Prophet replied, Islahu dhatil bayn, bringing reconciliation between two people. And then he said, وَفَسَادُ ذَاتِ الْبَيْنِ هِيَ الْحَالِقَةِ, and spoiling the relationship between two people, this is the shaver. And what is intended here is just like you may shave your head and it removes the hair. So when you cause corruption between people, it shaves away your deen and your good deeds. And this is what things like namima or tale-bearing seeks to do. It seeks to sow discord between people. It often comes under the guise of nasiha. Oh, we are just giving you good advice. But we need to be careful. Everybody is giving good advice. We need to be strict and critical about what good advice is, because often namima comes disguised as good advice or nasiha. We learn from this ayah the importance of ikhlas, that you seek the pleasure of Allah Jalla wa Ala. It is only the ikhlas that will gain you the reward in the akhirah. Ordering sadaqah and islah bayn al-nas and so on is a good action in and of itself. Even a kafir can do it, and it would be reward worthy, but only in this world. We also take from this ayah that Allah has pleasure. This is one of His sifa fi'liyah. He does it when He wills it, so He's pleased with certain people and their actions. And we also take that Allah Jalla wa Ala calls our reward an ajr, ajr from ujra, which is wages of a worker. When somebody works for you, you are obliged to pay him. Allah Jalla wa Ala, through His great-making qualities, has obliged His own self to give the reward of those who do righteous works. Ayah 115. وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقْ الرَّسُولَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. He says, whoever yushaqiq, from shaqqa yushaqu. This means to oppose. It comes from shiq, which means a side. So it's as if the messenger is on one side, and if you oppose the messenger, you are on the other side. So it means to oppose. Whoever opposes the messenger, speaking about Muhammad ﷺ, after the guidance is made plain to him, meaning to say from the Quran or from the authentic hadith, and that he yattabi' follows other than the way, the sabil of the mu'mineen, the believers. And when this ayah came down, the believers were the Sahaba. So one who follows other than the way of the Sahaba from actions and beliefs. The ayah is general. He says, نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى. From walla yuwalli, we will turn him to that which he has turned himself to. That is simply to say, to keep him on the misguided path which he himself has chosen. وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمْ. We will make him enter into Jahannam. The root of that is saliya yasla, salyan. So when they say saliyan nara, it means to be burnt in the fire. وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا, and what a bad destination. We have spoken about the word sa'a before. Masir means your destination, where you end up at. Reflecting on this ayah, we take obviously that it is haram to oppose the messenger when the guidance has become plain to you, which means that if you have an excuse, then if it's a genuine excuse, like you genuinely did not know, then you are not sinful. You can only become sinful when you know what the guidance is. Likewise, if you have access to knowledge and you did not seek the knowledge when you had access to it, then it simply means that your ignorance is a choice. You chose to be ignorant. And that also is not an excuse, because when you choose to do something, you are taken into account. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, was asked about evidence that the ijma' of the scholars is an evidence in the deen which has to be followed. And he quoted this ayah, whoever follows a way other than the mu'mineen, because the ijma' of the scholars is the way of the mu'mineen. So if you oppose the ijma', then you are following a way which is other than the mu'mineen. And of course this ayah gives a stern warning against such a decision. So when he says other than the way of the mu'mineen, sabil al-mu'mineen, this refers to fiqh matters, it refers to aqidah matters, it refers to all matters of halal and haram. So if, for example, we know that all the mujtahideen scholars will deem meat slaughtered in a halal way to be halal to be eaten, no scholar is going to say that this is impermissible. So if now somebody comes along and says that he is a vegan and that it is not right and proper to eat meat, then such a person has opposed the way of the mu'mineen, because he has declared impermissible what the ijma' declares to be permissible. So opposing these matters of ijma', which are well known to the people, is kufr. So we are talking about those matters in which there is a definite ijma', not merely a majority opinion, and also not those matters in which there might be an ijma'. It needs to be an ijma' qat'i, something which is definitely an ijma'. You are essentially declaring haram what Allah Jalla wa Ala has declared to be halal. And it's not like in a case like this, you have a genuine interpretation by which one may give you the benefit of the doubt. It's not like that at all. A person who is a vegan, let's say, would be clearly opposing the hukum of Allah Jalla wa Ala without any excuse or without any benefit of the doubt. Such a person is giving his own ideals precedence over what Allah has ruled. So what we need to know is that Allah Jalla wa Ala does not allow this ummah to be unanimous on a misguided idea or action. So whenever there's an ijma', you know for sure this is the guided way that Allah Jalla wa Ala has chosen for us, and it is therefore not permissible to oppose it. Doing so is simply to choose kufr. And what we mean is ideologically opposing it, not just merely falling into sin. For example, fornication is haram by consensus. Does this mean that a fornicator is a kafir? The answer is no. However, if a person says that fornication should be allowed, there should be nothing wrong with it because we have two consenting adults of sound mind and this is all that matters, then such a person is putting his own ideals and moral framework above the rule of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and that is kufr. We also find from this ayah that Allah Jalla wa Ala misguides those people who are worthy to be misguided, and this is that Allah Jalla wa Ala makes his path of misguidance fair seeming to him. So he sees the misguidance as guidance and the guidance as misguidance. Allah Jalla wa Ala, for example, says, فَذَرْنِي وَمَنْ يُكَذِّبُ بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ سَنَسْتَدْرِجُهُمْ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Let me deal with the one who belies this speech of the Quran. We will gradually mislead them from where they do not know. So this happens when Allah Jalla wa Ala makes their path of misguidance fair seeming to them and distracts them from the guided path. Likewise, he says, فَلَمَّا زَاغُوا أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُم. When they deviated, Allah deviated their hearts. So yes, Allah did misguide them, but only because they themselves first chose misguidance. Likewise, he says, وَنَذَرُهُمْ فِي طُغْيَانِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ. We leave them in their trespasses, wandering blindly. So Allah Jalla wa Ala could put them on the right path, but He leaves them wandering blindly in their path of misguidance. The analogy to understand this would be that a person chooses the door of misguidance rather than the door of guidance, and Allah Jalla wa Ala simply kicks him through it. We also take that the end result and the end destination of those who are misguided is the fire. Ayah 116, Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi wa yaghfiru ma duna dhalika liman yasha'u wa man yushrik billahi faqad dhalla dhalalan ba'idan. He says, indeed Allah does not forgive that shirk be made with Him. Shirk meaning sharing. So that is to say, you would share in worship. So that is to say, you worship someone besides Allah Jalla wa Ala. Or that you put anyone other than Allah on a status which belongs exclusively to Allah Jalla wa Ala. Based on this, atheists are mushrikun. So shirk is not polytheism, shirk is sharing. And atheists put their own moral framework in place of the ahkam of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and that is shirk. He goes on and he forgives anything less than that to whomsoever He wills. And whoever commits shirk with Allah, then he has dhalla, meaning misguided or become lost, dhalalan ba'idan, a far misguidance. So dhalalan is mansub bil-fatha because it is a maf'ul mutlaq which emphasizes the verb. So such a person is greatly gone astray. Now we talked about this ayah in ayah number 48 of Surah An-Nisaa. So you may refer to that. But an important point to note is that this ayah is a refutation against all those from the Mu'tazila and the Khawarij who say that the Muslim who dies upon a major sin is a kafir and in Jahannam forever. But Allah here is telling us that it is possible for even a major sinner to be forgiven, as long as he does not die upon shirk. But it's just that if someone dies upon shirk, then such a person cannot be forgiven. As for if a person makes sincere tawbah before he dies, then it matters not what the sin is. whether it be a minor sin, major sin, or even kufr akbar, major tawbah would wipe away everything, but it needs to be done before death. هذا والله أعلم.